If you watched WWE Backstage this week, you will have heard Seth Rollins say the following words. I'm not going to do a Seth Rollins impression because it's going to be me going, man, Seth Rollins, and nobody wants to hear me. Anyway, he proclaimed, I didn't know about the red light in his match against Bray Wyatt / The Fiend. I didn't know it was going to stay on. It's part of his entrance, but I didn't know it was a mess for me. For starters, you're in this dark red. The cell is also red. You're trying to navigate around the edges of a cell, and it's very quite tight quarters to begin with. It was a mess. It was difficult to deal with, especially not knowing it was going to happen. I, for one, am not a fan. I feel like it affects my performance personally. I got accustomed to it because we had a bunch of matches after that, but it was super weird at first, and like I say, that cell didn't help at all. Certainly not alone in that line of thinking, and we had all the other palaver that went along with it, but yeah, Seth Rollins, he ain't a big fan of his match against Bray Wyatt. Why? Here's why. We've covered the main part naturally, and it does make a lot of sense. I think we're so quick to react in 2019, we never take a step back and actually try and put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. But imagine you were Seth Rollins, or you were any kind of wrestler, and you're used to a certain look, and you're used to a certain feel, and then you get into a wrestling ring, and all of a sudden you're like in some kind of brothel, because there's red lights everywhere. You are going to go, excuse me, can somebody at least tell me what's going on, preferably before I walk down the damn aisle? I mean, what was WWE thinking? At least tell the man, let him prepare. Like, if I had to do the rest of this video under red lights, well, I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference, because it ain't going to happen in here. It would be added in post-production. So from the Simon Miller doing this video, he's going to be none the wiser. Maybe the editor has now put some crazy cool red lights everywhere, but again, it makes no difference to me. I got normal light. That is not the only reason that Rollins wouldn't give this 2 thumbs up though, because if you transport yourself back to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, you will remember that after the man who loves to burn things down had hit the Fiend with a giant hammer as a toolbox was on his face, he also got a pretty bad backlash, not only from the live crowd, but from social media too. I mean, they were all over him. He tried to curb that, which made it even worse. However, he also addressed this when he was on WWE Backstage, and I've got that little quote for you as well. Speaking about Twitter, Rollins went on, I think it affects you whether you want to fess up to it or not. You read the comments, you see, you hear the small segments of the audiences. Let's be clear, this is not everywhere. I go to Little Rock, I go to Germany, I do live events all over the world, and I'm not getting booed. There's a small contingent of our audience that's very vocal on social media, but you see that, you hear that, you read it, and it affects you. I'm a passionate guy, I love this business, it is my life, and so when I put so much into it and feel like I get disrespected, I am gonna push back. I hope he means force push. I already see some of those quotes coming back to haunt him, but we'll do that video another time, probably in March 2020, when we're trying to figure out what the hell happened to Seth Rollins. But let's get in our time machines and go back to October 6th, 2019, when indeed that show went down, because when you do look at it, it kind of derailed Seth Rollins entirely, because in no world, in no timeline, in no reality, do I think at that point somebody in WWE was going, right, here's what we're going to do, we're going to book this match, it's going to be an absolute bomb, and it means then we can start turning Rollins heel. That was not the idea. His top good guy in the company status at one point was self-assured, but then you've got the fact that Bray Wyatt should have won the World Championship, the red light, the reaction, and that ridiculous finish, and it all came together, to be honest, crap on Seth Rollins' parade. And imagine you went to any kind of parade and somebody started crapping on you. If you worked for a local newspaper, you would write, this is the worst parade I've ever been to, I got pooped on. So it did indeed shift past for the architect. You know what? He's probably not best pleased about that. If you go back to WrestleMania 35, remember the entrance that Seth Rollins had. The fans were so excited to see him, and when he did curb stomp Brock Lesnar and won the Universal Championship, there was a lovely feeling, not only going throughout the arena, but coming out of the television and hitting you square in the face as you sat there on your sofa. Basically, everybody wanted Seth to win. It felt like Rollins had finally arrived, and that maybe he could now on to become a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock or a John Cena. Now, I don't actually think he was ever going to get to that kind of level, but I bet Seth Rollins thought that he may, and he certainly should, because he wants to be a star. He wants to get as high as he possibly can, and all of a sudden, everything has been derailed because of that one match. He was in a great position in April, and now in December, he's sucking eggs and doing something utterly different. all because of Hell in a Cell. So obviously he's not a fan, and flipping a light switch wasn't going to make the better of this. But, you know, in the future, if Seth looks back on his career and remembers what happened in the Hell in a Cell against Bray Wyatt, he's probably going to go, I would have rather that didn't happen. It didn't tick any of the boxes that I told we were going to be ticking. Then I had to go and become a bad guy again. Fair play to the man though, because I do just want to throw in here, it's quite clear he is super passionate about wrestling, and no matter what happens from this point on, I do hope we get to a position, we get to a point where the relationship between the fans and Mr. Rollins is a little bit nicer. I hate this word, it has been quite toxic as of late. I don't mind if you want to hate him from a character point of view, but let's try and not hate the human. I mean, he did get a bit angry for a while when he was yelling at other wrestlers in other companies and also relating that back to money, and you should never do that. As soon as you bring finances into it, you've already lost the war, and I know that he shouldn't have done that, but still, you know me, Sam Miller here, What Culture, how you doing? I'm a lollipop man, and I live in lollipop land. I just want to skip through the fields of roses and apples and hope that everybody has smiles on their faces. Anyway, do go and watch WWE Backstage guesting Seth Rollins, because you do get a good idea about where his head at the moment and where he possibly could be going in the future. And I know now that I've mentioned Seth Rollins on Backstage, we need to talk about Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, so I'll do it. He did address it, and I would say all those rumors that Vince McMahon was super mad that he was addressing it a few weeks ago were absolutely true, because he went in there and he deflated the situation instantly and made it clear that as far as he's concerned, there is no way that CM Punk and Seth Rollins can have a match at WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, whenever, because those two things aren't lining up right now. So if you thought it, I'm sorry. Because you all know the rule, McMahon doesn't like teasing something unless he knows he can deliver on it. And right now, CM Punk has signed with Fox, he hasn't signed with WWE, so there ain't no postmanship going on here. He can't deliver, even though you are now right to be able to turn that around and say, but wait, why was I promised a Bobby Lashley versus Rusev match at WWE Starrcade, which Vince McMahon could deliver, but I didn't get that, and I don't have the answers for you. In the wrestling world or in the WWE world, things don't make sense, stuff just happens, I am but the messenger. So basically, screw you, you don't matter. But the too long didn't read version is, Seth Rollins didn't really like the match against Bray Wyatt, I can understand why. I don't think we're getting Punk versus Rollins anytime soon, although you never say never in the WWE. If it does happen at WrestleMania 36, I will not be against it. Punk should win. So there you have it, I've given you the news, and maybe next time you're getting really mad at a match or an angle or a storyline, just take a second and go, oh wait, maybe the person involved isn't enjoying it that much too. Like if I had come on here the day after Hell in a Cell and told you, you know what, Seth Rollins didn't even know there was going to be a red light on in that match, you would have come at me and said, Simon, you bald asshole, you're lying. If you do it again, I will rip off your arm. And I'd be like, don't rip off my arm. I like doing bicep curls. It's all I have in my life. But yeah, he was like all of us. He was like, what is going on with this stupid tint that is now ruining my wrestling fun? Although I will say, I don't mind the red light, because it reminds me of Kane. Remember when Kane had that match with Mankind after, you know, he debuted at Bad Blood? I think it was the first feud he'd done after The Undertaker went, no, I won't fight you, Kane. I thought it was all right. I thought it was different. But if it is going to affect your art and it is going to affect your performance, we probably shouldn't do it. That's just my 2 cents. Just throwing some opinions out there into the internet, which of course will rile somebody up, but that's all right. I understand that when I put myself out there, I have to be able to be critiqued. And yes, Seth Rollins, that's just a little bit of a nugget of information with you. We've talked about nuggets a lot in this video. Sometimes it's just good to read these things or hear these things and go, you know what, now I'll just leave it. Just go off Twitter for a while, breathe, go and burn something down. You like doing that, go build something. You're a bit weird, Seth Rollins. You're an architect and you like to burn things down, so you're like a creator and a destroyer. That's probably why you get all angry every now and then, but it's all good. You're in control, you the millionaire, you the top WWE superstar, you better than us. We all get it. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Seth Rollins. Do you like him right now? Do you not like him? Can you understand why he's a little bit peeved about everything that happened back in October? Like the video, share the video, subscribe to What Culture Wrestling. It's right there, just hit it. Then head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE. We're on social media like Seth Rollins. And watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching, and I do quite like WWE Backstage. Everybody's always having a go at it, going, it's just a shield show, it's crap, but it's entertaining. Renee Young's really good at her job. For this week, for example, I learnt that John Morrison is officially coming back to the company, and I got quite excited about that, and that Dio Madden has left the Raw commentary booth because he wants to try and become a wrestler. I like all these nuggets. I like storing them away in my pocket and bring them out whenever somebody asks me a question. Simon, do you know about Dio Madden? Oh, why, yes, I do. And as for Seth Rollins, we will see what happens next. I want to think, as I say these words, WWE are doing the slow build to a massive heel turn where he can align himself with the Authors of Pain, and then for my money, I will actually be pleased about everything that happened at Hell in a Cell, because I think Seth Rollins is much better as a heel than he is a face. I really, really do. Remember when he came back from his injury and we thought he was going to be a good guy and WWE swerved us and he was a bad guy? At the time, I thought they were wrong. Now I realise maybe they just saw something in him that I didn't. I said we make him a heel and we never, ever, ever change it again. Just let him run through everybody, re-dye his hair blonde. He'll never do that. He doesn't like it. And let him be the asshole, the jackass I know Seth Rollins can be. I will see you soon.